Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kustini and I'm from Polytechnic Negeri Banjarmasin, and I'm here today to talk to you about my research paper, which is entitled A Project-Based Multiliteracy Instruction to Improve Students' Multimodal Literacy. As we know that due to the impact of fast development of technology and increased popularity of social media and chat applications, students nowadays are extensively attached to digital devices such as mobile phones and tablets. As a result of this, there is an alteration on how students read and write text from print-based to multimodal screen-based text. The shift can also be seen from the way students communicate with one another, in which interactions are carried out not only with speaking and writing, but also with emojis, GIFs, symbols, images, and other digital media. Patterns of communications become intensely multimodal. As a result of these new forms of text and communications, new literacy practices called as multimodal literacy have emerged. The importance of developing students' multimodal literacy in English language teaching is brought to light by several literacy scholars, including Lewen and Hafner. They point out that English language teaching should be expanded beyond the traditional focus on speech and writing to the production of multimodal ensembles, drawing on a range of other semiotic modes. Therefore, there is an urgent need for EFL teaching to develop complementary competencies beyond communicative competence into multimodal communicative competence. In the context of English for Specific Purposes or ESP, the current ESP teaching practices commonly take primary focus on learning grammatical structures, vocabulary, and reading comprehensions, and tends to ignore the development of the 21st century text. ESP learners are not trained in such a way to deal with the complexity of text forms delivered through digital media. The use of multimodal approach in ESP teaching has still not received sufficient attention in the teaching and learning process. Therefore, the ESP learning should consider these alterations and development of the new form of literacy. And to guide this study, two theoretical frameworks were used. The first is multiliteracy pedagogy, and the second is multimodal literacy. A slight explanation of multiliteracy pedagogy is that there are three crucial points discussed in this theory. The first is the explanation of why this pedagogy was created. The second is the notion of multiliteracy pedagogy, and the last one is how this pedagogy is implemented in the instructional process. In regards with the research methodology, qualitative case designs was implemented in this study, and the participants involved in this study were 30 semester 2 students taking ESP course in Informatics Engineering study program in the State Polytechnic of Banjarmasin. And there were two data collection techniques for this study. The first is classroom observations, and the second is students' artifacts. To analyze the data, there are two ways. The first is thematic analysis, and the second one is the visual analysis. We come to findings and discussion. The project that should be completed by the students during the multiliteracy instruction was creating digital poster. And through this poster creation, The findings indicate that the students were able to recognize, apply, and identify the form element of poster, and also the students were able to recognize, apply, identify the engagement element of poster. And the last one is also the student were able to recognize, apply, and analyze the message element of poster design. And this is the evidence of students learning. And how project-based multiliteracy instructions facilitate students multimodal literacy learning. There are 4 ways. The first is the inclusion of direct instructions and the utilization of multimodal authentic materials. And the third is the utilization of authentic tasks. And the fourth is the integration of technology. And for the conclusions, we have 4 points. The first is that project-based multiliteracy instructions facilitate students to view and compose multimodal text delivered via paper and digital technology devices. And the second is that project-based multiliteracy instructions help students to learn how to construct multimodal text. And the third is that project-based multiliteracy instruction facilitates students to effectively communicate using multimodal resources. And the fourth one is that project-based multiliteracy teaching encourages students to be creative and independent in their ESP teaching. And there are 3 limitations, that is the brevity of time implementing the teaching program. The second is the small scale study, and the third is the role of researcher acted as teacher in the teaching program. The recommendation is that longer time for the intervention should be applied, and larger scale study applying other research design such as narrative, action research, experimental research, and establishing sound criteria for assessment and multimodal analysis, and inviting knowledgeable teachers to get involved in the research undertaking. Thank you.